Alright, this is Justice League vs Tiny Titans 3, the final part of this mini-series. I needed to finish this, I felt, before I jump into any of them new comics I got. Also, I didn't know what was going on with that video. There were weird sound glitches in it. I noticed that it was usually where some footage had been moved about. I think it was because it was like a really long video and it had trouble exporting it or something. I was editing down 97 minutes of footage and there was about 400 plus cuts in it. Also, this comic here, I did record this when I was running through them, but I had to leave it out because I just said, and this is his funeral here, referring to Bart Simpson's. But the bit before that, I hadn't said anything to set that up. I didn't say Bart Simpson's at the end, so it wasn't clear I was talking about him. But enough admin, you know me, I love me admin. Let's talk about the covers for this series by finally combining them all together. Oh, they didn't combine. You see, we have 3 sections of this image missing. Fucking ridiculous. And this magnifies what I consider a big problem with these join and cover things. Now, we didn't have the big picture to gun off and say, yes, that is good. There is no combined image, so we have to judge the pictures by how they work as single covers. And none of them really do. Issue 2's cover almost works. I said in that video that it was like the standout of the bunch. But the first and then this one, they are just a mess. The focus here, it should be on Wonder Woman fighting Donatello, and it sort of is, but it's drowned out by all the other stuff going on, and the two of them are not, their poses are, well, the composition is all off for a cover. They should be closer, and they should be more angled towards us. I don't know what the deal is with this fail. Issue 1, it shows 2/4 of the full art right at the back, and it says that it'll be available as a poster, but could they not afford to print the other bits on the back? These covers, or rather the failed execution of them, seriously let this book down. And then, to rub some salt into the wound, this is the sort of image I would love as a cover. It is heroes flying towards you in space. If this was the cover, it would likely have been on one of my cover spotlights already. Our storyline is Sideburns from the Tiny Titans. He has evolved and become this big technological planet. And now the Justice League and the Tiny Titans, they have united with a plan. The original Tiny Titans have gone to try and reach Sideburns' human side. And what we have is a comic all about their friendship. This issue is all about character. The last one was action. The first one was maybe continuity. Are those the 3 things you need for a good comic? Character, action, and continuity. Here we have Donatello, Nightbird, Dick Grayskull, Acroman Jr. Our here is Red Arrow. And then the Flask, the Willie West version. These were the original Tiny Titans. And Shrek Boy, he has snuck off with them because Sideburns is his best friend. I call into question Nightbird's strategic planning. He put together this contingent to try to appeal to Sideburns' human aspect. and he managed to leave off Sideburns' best friend. Also, the goth girl teleported them there. If I was Star Fox, I would be livid that they seem to be off having a reunion of all the core team members and they didn't invite her along. And while these tiny titans try to reach Sideburns, we have the rest of the heroes, the Justice League and the other members of the Tiny Titans. They are reacting to natural disasters that have been caused by Sideburns converging with the moon. We also have some payoff to the stuff with Green Lanterns, Kyle Reese. He has been a major presence in this book as one of the select few who is both a Justice League member and a former member of the Tiny Titans. Quite nice resolution to him standing with the Justice League instead of the Tiny Titans, and his friendship with Willie West. And look, he is using his Green Lantern's ring to move the Sideburns-ified moon. Like the last two issues, this one, it does an exceptional job of not having all these characters feel redundant or forgotten about. They all get something today, some more than others, but again, I can point to specific things that the Vision does or whatever. The Vision, he actually has a nice character moment at the end. I mean, there are nice character bits throughout, so I likely won't find the time to even point out that bit with him holding a baby. And Green Lanterns, the Gary Gardner version, he quickly overtakes Onion as being the fun character in this story. This is when he had his alien Power Rangers tattoo set up. I would do a video about this stupid change they made to Gary Gardner, but nobody cares. DC, they decided they wanted to try and cash in on the popularity of the Power Rangers in the 90s. So they decided to give Gary Gardner morphin powers. Here we have nice sequences with each of the central Tiny Titans trying to reach their friend. And by now, you should know that, as well as admin, I love comics where people are just nice to each other. But despite all his friends being really nice to him, it is Shrek Boy who actually gets through to him by doing the exact opposite. He starts telling Sideburns off for being selfish and ignoring him. And this is all interspersed with some little scenes showing us all the heroes saving people across the globe, including Joker's daughter. And I won't give away too much about how stuff resolves or exactly what happens. But at one point, the Justice League, they leave space, but Green Lanterns, Kyle Reese, he stays behind. But why did he stay behind, I wonder? And here is a scene with Pratt's son. He stops a meteorite from destroying SeaWorld or something. And then Geodudette, she uses her powers to stop Summit too. And Wonder Woman tells her she did good. And down here, Vision and Argos. And we just have loads of bits like that. And I love that. Weakest part of the whole series, though, is this forced cutaway to Jokers. Because Jokers is overused and he adds nothing to most stories. There have only been 3 or 4 good Joker's stories, and every other Joker's story might as well star Jared Leto. But our big resolution to one character arc is that Green Lantern's Kyle Reese, he shows up to save the original Tiny Titans because he sort of regrets siding against them, and he was thinking about them and he felt like he had betrayed them or whatever. And I didn't really do dream teams, really. But my dream lineup, my roster would be this here probably. The main ones: Dick Grayskull, Willie West, Donatello, Red Arrow, Shrek Boy, Sideburns, Goth Girl and Star Fox, and then also Kyle Reese. I think that would be like the best Titans team. And here is another thing to point out about this series. When all is said and done, it seems one of the main objectives was to revamp and remold Sideburns. And now he is exactly like he was in Tragic Kingdom. He is in this awful boring Alec Rose design where he is just gold. Now, I hate Tragic Kingdom and I hate stories doing stuff like this where it's just kind of like trying to force characters into how they were in Tragic Kingdom. But everything else is so well done that this stupid Tragic Kingdom nodding, it doesn't annoy us. Now we end with about a dozen or so little moments with all these assembled heroes. Like, look, there's that bit with Vision. He holds Moonstar's baby. It is a sweet scene. Then all the girls objectify Dick Grayskull, and this writer will subsequently have 2 women rape him, and it is just a nice happy ending. The heroes are all heroes, they are all friends, they are nice to each other, and after this we got an ongoing series starring the Tiny Titans by this creative team, but I'm afraid to read it in case it just doesn't live up to this mini-series. Pratt's son, he is one of the team members in it too. I just worry that it'll be like diminishing returns. I think this is one of the best mini-series ever done. I didn't think many other books can so proudly claim that they have honoured a team's history as much as this does with the Tiny Titans. This always had me interested in diving into their back issues and learning more about all these characters that I was introduced to in this. I wish there was more series like this. Just like these love letters to Summit. This is the sort of stuff I would be doing if I was a comic writer. Like, I'd do like a New Warriors mini-series that had just like every single one of them in it. Or how about Justice Society of Superheroes versus Infiniteers, which would just directly copy this format. Devin comment down below saying how Kurt Busey, he did stories like this with the Avengers because he didn't. He did the exact opposite of this. If he did this, he'd have gone out of his way to slam just about 80% of the characters and their contributions to the Tiny Titans' history, and he would retcon everything to service his own shoddy story. This is amazing. I strongly recommend checking out all 3 issues of Justice League vs Tiny Titans. I am awarding this a 7 thumbs up.